Hello and welcome back to the Nerd Melon Show. GoCollect is a website that claims to be making video game collecting better by giving you all the data you need to stay ahead of the video game collecting market. The problem is their data is radically incomplete and misleading. We took the top 100 sales of video games since the start of 2021 and compared that to the GoCollect website, and what we found was shocking. So let's hit the intro and get into this report. So I'd like to start things off with a story. I was at a comic show here in Vancouver, British Columbia. I was looking at a graded 9.2 copy of Iron Man 55, First Thanos. He's asking $3,000 for it. I say, that's way too much. He says, I get my values off GoCollect. So I pull up Nerd Melon on my phone and I said, look, this copy should be going for at least $1,000 less than what you're asking for. He says, I've never heard of Nerd Melon. You can have this copy for $3,000. Just a quick heads up before we get going. We are making two of these videos, one for comic books and one for video games. We will be reusing some of the footage in both videos so we don't have to shoot it twice. For example, this next part about the conflict of interest is all duplicated, but for the most part, both videos have their own footage. We feel that GoCollect has become so standard that nobody questions it anymore. Well, we're here to question that, and I am aware that there is a massive conflict of interest here. Nerdmelon.com provides market data so that collectors can calculate a fair market value. GoCollect provides market data so that collectors can calculate fair market value. We do the same thing. But not only that, I realize there is a massive heaping pile of self-promotion to this video, and I'm trying very cautiously not to cross that cringe line, but if it helps, I'd like you to consider one thing. Nerdmelon.com is completely free. We don't charge a cent for our services. It's essentially a hobby website set up by a handful of collectors, and in fact it costs us money in monthly hosting fees and the hundreds of hours we spend every month verifying auction data. We operate in this manner because we are passionate about collecting. We're not here for the profit. GoCollect, on the other hand, is a for-profit business. They have an accounting department, a payroll department, marketing budget. They file income tax returns. But most of all, they charge for their service. And while some of the employees of GoCollect claim to be collectors themselves, in fact, they refer to themselves on their website as nerds, if the site stopped making income, the site would cease to exist. So providing our opinion on GoCollect is fair game, especially since we have no monetary incentive in doing this video. And since GoCollect positions themselves as the one-stop shop for staying ahead of the collecting market, then we would expect their data to be full and complete. So let's dive in. First, we're going to look at how their data is wholly incomplete, and then we're going to look at how their existing data is misleading. So we looked up the top 100 video game sales since January 2021, and we cut it off at January 2021 because we wanted to keep everything recent. We also ended it in August 2022, which was about a month ago, because we wanted to negate any arguments that we didn't give GoCollect enough time to post the data on their website. Also, we ignored any eBay best offer deals because we can't know the final negotiated price on those ones. And for complete full transparency, we posted the top 100 video game lists on nerdmelon.com, and you can find a link to that in the details below. Of the top 100 video games that sold in the last year and a half, 48 were not on the GoCollect website. Now, I must remind you here that you are paying for ultra accuracy, and yet almost 50% of their data is incorrect. The highest selling video game ever, which sent a wave of panic over the collecting community last year, is not on this site. I cannot believe that the mighty GoCollect missed this sale. And if they can miss something like that, then how many of those mid-range sales are they missing? The type of sales that happen between $500 and $5,000, the kind that happen multiple times a day that nobody really pays any attention to. So let's now take a look at some of the high value video game auction sales that didn't make it to GoCollect. As mentioned, there are 48 in total, but we're only going to go over the top 12. But remember, you can access this data anytime by using the link in the description. But first, I want to take a few moments to show you how this all works. If you're not familiar with the GoCollect website, this is how they organize their data. Each video game has its own dedicated page, and this is important, so we will be coming back to this later. On this page, you can select the grade, then all auction data for that collectible in that grade are conveniently listed for you in chronological order. You can see the grade on the right column, and the sales prices are listed here. The details of the auction that is missing from GoCollect will be displayed up here with the name, grade, and highlighted sales price. This data is taken directly from the NerdMelon website, for which we will display a screenshot in the upper right corner. You'll be able to confirm that a game is not on GoCollect by checking the sales prices up here with the sales listed down below. In all cases today, the sales price up top will not be displayed on the GoCollect website, meaning that they missed it. That said, let's fast forward now to the top 12. Okay, here we are at number 12 with Super Mario Bros. For NES. This is one of 4 Marios in the top 12, graded at 9.0. This is a mid-production copy, sold for $228K, and if you think that's high, we're going to see some sharp increases in prices for the next 3 copies. Anyway, this game is not on GoCollect. The controversial Super Mario 64. This VGA graded game comes in at number 11 and makes 3 appearances on the top 12. Just you wait, more on this to come shortly. GoCollect aside, what makes this entry unique is that it is one of only 4 games on the top highest selling games list that is graded by VGA. All the rest are WATA graded. Regardless, this game is not on GoCollect. At number 10, we have Super Mario World for SNES, WATA graded 9.4, sold for $360,000. If you watch any of my other videos, you'll recall I recently graded a sealed copy of this game myself, but it was the Greatest Hits version. Unfortunately for me, the Greatest Hits version sells for much, much less. Lots of Sonic games on the list, but this is the only sale that made the top 10. This is Sonic the Hedgehog for Sega Genesis, which sold for $420,000 and is not on GoCollect. At number 8 is another copy of Mario for NES. Again, this is a mid-production copy, just like the previous one. However, this one was graded slightly higher at 9.4. That slight increase in grade has more than doubled the sales price to $492,000. But nitpicking about prices is not why we're here. Why are we here? So we can say, not on GoCollect. At number 7, we have a first production Legend of Zelda graded by WATA at 9.2 with a B+ seal rating. This game sold for $600,000, but notice the huge range in sale prices on GoCollect. More on this to come. The next 2 are both Super Mario Bros. For NES. They both sold for a whopping $660,000 and are both not on GoCollect. This is the 3rd mid-production copy that has now tripled in value since the first copy we looked at today. This one was graded at 9.6 by WATA. And this copy received a lower grade from WATA, but it is a first production, so it commands more at auction. At number 4 is a first production copy of Legend of Zelda for NES, which sold for $705,000, not on GoCollect. Another copy of Super Mario 64, this time with a perfect WATA grade of 9.8 and an A++ seal rating. This one sold for just under $800,000. Still more to come on Mario 64, but first, let's move to the second highest selling game not to make it on GoCollect. This is an early production of Legend of Zelda that sold for $870,000. Now, I know these prices are stupid high and no collector I know would ever pay this much. There's obviously some market manipulation coming from somewhere, but that's neither here nor there. The fact is, this is a verified sale from Heritage Auction and it didn't make it to GoCollect. And finally at number 1 is the hugely controversial sale of another copy of Mario 64, also WATA graded at 9.8 with an A++ seal rating, that sold for a whopping $1.5 million, doubling the price of the number 3 spot. But this one is really confusing to us since this is the highest selling game ever. Forget about the date restrictions we put in place to generate this list, this is the highest sale ever. Not only that, this sale was surrounded in controversy because of the previously mentioned market manipulation. Everyone in the collecting community knows about this sale, yet somehow GoCollect didn't? How can they claim to have everything we need to stay ahead of the market? It blows my mind. And we just wanted to give an honorary shout out to the Nintendo World Championship cart. This sale is not on GoCollect, but didn't sell for enough money to make it to our top 12. We keep saying that this video is not supposed to be about selling prices of these games, but if you happen to notice, there were a crap ton of WATA-graded games on this list, some from the not too distant past, selling at unrealistically high prices. There is a lot of controversy surrounding these sales. However, this game stood out to us as being the only true holy grail on the list. Only 96 of these were made, and while there are technically other rarer games, none hold the history or cultural significance as this unique Nintendo cartridge. So, are we now just supposed to believe that the GoCollect data is full and complete, even though we're missing 48% of the data? Your Honor, I would like to submit into evidence a full and complete confession from the accused. Now, I know this confession is missing 48% of the story, but it's not like we're buying vintage video games here. All you have to do is believe the story, and we can put this man behind bars. The problem with data mining websites like GoCollect, and well, yes, NerdMelon is affected by this as well, is that it's impossible to be accurate with 100% of the data. This is because there are tens of thousands of auctions being closed every single day, and it would be way too labor intensive for any one person or even group of people to verify all that data. So we use computer algorithms to help us sort through all that data. Yet, as we'll see next, computer algorithms pose their own set of problems. Look at these examples. In this auction, the title mentions both a VGA grade and a WATA grade. This one says it is WATA graded 9.2 with an A++ seal rating, but the game is raw. In an effort to increase our own accuracy, we've started playing around with image-to-text technology, but it poses its own set of problems. For example, a bad camera angle on this one made it impossible to read the text off the label. Or this one where the game is in a compact holder and the label is on the side. These examples all illustrate how easy it is to confuse a computer algorithm, and as we'll see next, this problem is exacerbated with improper data organization. As we've seen previously, GoCollect organizes their data by giving each and every collectible its own dedicated page. Other popular websites like Price Charting and GamesValueNow.com use this same basic strategy. It is nice and convenient for the user, but it means that your algorithm has to be 100% accurate, otherwise the data on that page is going to be flawed or missing completely. If you recall, during the top 12, we mentioned this copy of Legend of Zelda, which was a first production copy. This particular copy sold for $600K and is not shown on the GoCollect website, but if you look at the other sales prices that are on the GoCollect website, you will see a wide range of selling prices, some as low as $15,000, some as high as $180,000. This is because GoCollect is lumping together sales of first, early, mid, and late production copies. Different production dates can see huge swings in auction sale prices, as is the case here. We saw this time and time again while researching this video. Not only that, but look at the seal rating. WATA seal ratings range from C to A++, and again, different seal ratings command different auction prices, yet GoCollect is again lumping all the seal ratings together. Now scrolling up the page, imagine skimming the GoCollect website for a game like this and reading the 1-year average sale price. This calculation will be wildly incorrect. Incidentally, NerdMelon doesn't have this issue because we don't have dedicated pages for each collectible. When you search our database, you search every record in our database, and at the time of recording, that's about 2.6 million records. You can search by date or date range, grade or grade range. You can search from any of the 110 different third-party grading companies we have in our database. The results may contain junk, which you are free to ignore. The point is, we don't spoon feed you the data. You get to choose what's important to you and what's not important. And speaking of third-party grading companies, this is another beef we have with GoCollect and every other website out there. All you get are the two big grading companies, WATA and VGA. This is an extremely outdated practice, considering that many other companies have gained huge respect in the collecting community. And by ignoring those other companies, you miss out on a huge chunk of auction data. Just look at these graded video game examples from other grading companies that aren't VGA or WATA. These are some of the most sought after games in the community right now. Here's a copy of Fortnite graded by the Investment Grading Services, which sold for $2,000. This Ocarina of Time was graded by Player One. They grade their games based on an easy 100-point scale. Lots of great example of P1 graded games. This one sold for $5,100. UK graders graded this copy of Pokemon Red, and it sold for $17,865. And finally, here is yet another excellent grade by Player One. Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past sold for $29,600. None of these video games are on GoCollect because of their outdated belief that VGA and WATA are the only players in town. Yeah, maybe you don't consider a Player One graded 85 video game the equivalent to a VGA 85. Whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is that the data should be given to you so you can make your own decision. And it's not just the lack of a full spectrum of graded games. GoCollect is also missing out on a huge chunk of the raw market. By our calculations, 96% of video game auction sales are raw. Let's check out a handful of high-value raw sales, and we start here with DuckTales 2 for NES, a beautiful, rare Holy Grail that sold for just over $22,000. The Blockbuster World video game cartridge, this is exceptionally rare. This and the Nintendo World Championship mentioned earlier, these are the holy grails of grails. Especially since this cart was ordered to be destroyed after the competition. I think the selling price of $25,000 is cheap for this one. Here's another sealed grail, Chrono Trigger for SNES, $27,000. Metroid 1 for NES, factory sealed, $30,000. The list goes on and on. The fact that GoCollect does not include data on raw sales just leads to the misleading nature of their product. Making collecting better. That's GoCollect's slogan. It's right up there on their homepage. However, we think it should read something different. We think it should say, making collectors lazy. In their efforts to make collecting better, sites like GoCollect have spoon-fed information to collectors based on misleading and flawed data. Collectors have gotten used to this pampering, and so they no longer feel the need to do their own research, instead declaring sites like GoCollect to be full and complete, even though they may know deep down inside that it's not. The cycle continues. Sellers quote GoCollect, buyers buy based on that price, rinse and repeat until it becomes truth. Gary GoCollect, the story from earlier on, was very much a pampered collector in this regard. For a site that claims they are making collecting better, I have my doubts about GoCollect. They are clearly missing huge chunks of data, and the data that they have is suspect. Any calculations based on this data should be scrutinized. If not, it should be outright rejected. Unfortunately, the sheer number of auction sales that close every day make it difficult for any website to report accurately on the data. The key, in our opinion, is to provide a full and complete record of all of the data, regardless of whether or not it fits your algorithm. Ultimately, today, we would like two things. One, that GoCollect doesn't sue us. This is our opinion, people. And two, next time that you meet a Gary GoCollect at the comic show, you have some fodder to throw back in their face. Anyway, that's all for today. Thank you very much, and see you on the next episode of The Nerd Melon Show.